Welcome to my official picks and predictions for Week 10 of the 2024 college football season. In this video, I will go through every single top 25 matchup for Week 10 and I will predict these scores as well as the spreads and the over-unders. But before we do that, let's start off with recapping my results from last week. I had a very up and down week last week, but overall predicting games, I went 12-3, so that's not bad. But I was disappointed with my predictions against the spread. I only went 5-10. I have actually been pretty average with my over-under predictions this year, but I actually ended up above 500 going 8-7. So it was definitely an up and down week of predicting games for week 9, but I expect to have a good week for week 10. So let's start off with the Friday night game between number 15 Boise State and San Diego State this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Boise State just really doesn't play anybody because they are in the Mountain West, but I think Boise State is a really good football team. They got a tough win on the road against UNLV last weekend, and I expect them to carry over the momentum and stay undefeated in conference play. Give me Boise State in this game 34-13. San Diego State has had one of the worst offenses in the country this year, so I expect this game to be lopsided. Boise State has this game back at home. So I am taking Boise State 34-13, but I do think San Diego State will just cover. I think their defense can do enough to cover, and I have the under for this game. Let's move on to the Saturday games. The first game of this Saturday is another top 5 matchup this season between number 3 Penn State and number 4 Ohio State this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I've been surprised because I've seen a lot of people rolling with Penn State in this game, but personally, I cannot. I know Ohio State had that bad performance against Nebraska last weekend, but they only passed the ball 16 times. They ran the ball over 30 times and only averaged 2 yards a carry, but I think Ohio State has one of the best passing attacks in the country. And even on the road, I think Ohio State can get a big win at Penn State because they are the all-around better team with better perimeter talent. I think Ohio State will open up the passing game, and I think they will pass for over 300 yards in this game. Penn State showed some weaknesses against USC a few weeks back, and I still think Penn State's secondary can get exposed. And I know Penn State has been a little bit better offensively this year, but I don't think they will be able to match up against that Ohio State defense. Even with the Ohio State offensive line concerns, I just think they are the much better team on both sides of the ball. And I am going to take the Buckeyes on the road in this game, 31-23. I'm taking Ohio State to cover, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 5 Miami versus Duke this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Miami has a very easy schedule, so it is very likely that they are going to go undefeated and possibly win the ACC. And I know Duke is a 6-win football team, but I think they're a very average team and they have an easy schedule, so that's the only reason they've won 6 games. Duke has been a solid team defensively, but Miami has legitimately the best offense in the ACC and one of the best in the country. And I just don't think Duke has the offense to keep up with Miami in this game. I will say Duke has showed a little bit more offensively the last few weeks. They managed to almost beat SMU and the offense looked much better. But still, I'm going to roll with Miami. Give me the Miami Hurricanes in this game, 38-20. I think Duke will sneak out a cover, and I have the over for this game. The next game is Arkansas versus number 19 Ole Miss this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Arkansas has been a pretty competitive team this year. They beat Tennessee, but I do feel like they are going to fall off a bit. They were competitive in the first half of the season, but they had that bad loss to LSU. And I think with Ole Miss entering the second half of the season, I do think they will start to find themselves and be playing their best football. And I think they win a tough game on the road against a solid Arkansas squad. Give me Ole Miss in this game, 31-19. I will take them to cover, and I have the under for this game. I just think Ole Miss is much improved up front, at least on the defensive line. I know the offensive line has some concerns. But Ole Miss has better playmakers on the outside, and they have the better quarterback, so I think Ole Miss will win this game. The next game is number 21 Army versus Air Force this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. For any of you who have been watching this channel for a while now, you might know that I did expect Air Force to take a step back because they were dead last in the country for returning to production this year. Army, on the other hand, they're a solid squad with a good coaching staff, and they return a lot of production this year. And so far, it is paying off. They are undefeated and a legit contender for the college football playoff. The Air Force has been terrible this year, and I expect Army to keep up their winning streak. Give me Army in this game, 34-10. I am taking them to sneak out a cover, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 24 Illinois versus Minnesota this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I think this could be one of the better games of the week, and I think it's going to be very close and very slept on. I wouldn't be surprised if this game went into overtime, maybe a walk-off field goal. But I think where these two teams are at right now, it's an even matchup. Minnesota has been playing their best football ever since they got Darius Taylor back at running back. Illinois has also been a solid squad with multiple top 25 wins this season, and they are 6-2. Both of their losses are to top 5 teams in Penn State and Oregon. And I do expect Illinois to bounce back and be focused in this game at home after that terrible performance against Oregon last weekend. But I am actually going to take the upset. I think Minnesota is being slept on right now. They have won their last 3, including dominating Maryland last weekend. And I think they have the potential to take advantage of an Illinois team that has been battle-tested this year. So give me Minnesota in this game, maybe in an overtime win, 27-24. I am taking Minnesota to just cover, and I have the over for this game. The next game is Michigan versus number 1 Oregon this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Earlier this season, I was predicting this as a trap game for Oregon, but Michigan is just not great this year, and Oregon is legitimately the best team in the country right now. And even on the road, maybe it's a cold game, I expect Oregon to win this game big. Regardless of the weather and the fact that this is an away game, Oregon has way better perimeter talent. The only way I see Michigan even covering is if they completely control time of possession. Oregon's run defense has been a little bit shaky this year, but Michigan has absolutely no passing game, so Oregon can just commit to stopping the run. And I'm expecting an Oregon win in this game 31-13. I think they easily cover, and I'm taking the under for this game. The next game is number 2 Georgia versus Florida this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This will be a very interesting game, and it will be a neutral site game. It seems like both these teams are playing for a lot right now. Georgia is trying to get back to their old ways, and Billy Napier is just trying to keep his job, but they are heading in the right direction after that big win against Kentucky last weekend. Look, I think there's a legitimate path for Florida to make a bowl game and maybe keep Billy Napier's job, but they have no shot in this game. I do think it could be close at halftime, and maybe Georgia's on upset alert for a little bit. Maybe Florida hits them early going up 7-0, maybe 14-0 if everything goes their way. But nobody is better at making adjustments than Kirby Smart and his defense. I don't think DJ Lagway is quite ready for a stage against one of the best defenses in the country. I think it will be a close game at halftime, but at the end of this thing, I'm taking Georgia 38-17, and I'm taking Georgia to cover, and I do have the over for this game. Georgia has been finding their identity lately, and they should dominate Florida. But that would be a story if Florida kept this game close, but the only way I see them winning this game is if DJ Lagway has a Johnny Manziel type of performance.